A report from the government of Uganda with support from CDKN, Makerere University and CIDT finds that investing in adaptation to climate change today is well worth the investment. The costs of inaction on climate change by 2025 are 20 times the costs of adaptation, estimated at between $3.1 billion and $5.9 billion per year by 2025, which is more than 20 times the proposed adaptation budget. Uganda National Meteorological Authority and Disaster Management Organization act together have partnered under the Daraja East African Scale-Up program. Their joint effort aims at enhancing regional disaster preparedness and response, prioritizing life-saving measures and community protection. Utilizing advanced technology and expertise, they aim to establish a reliable weather and climate information system for timely forecasts and alerts. This collaboration is a major step towards a more resilient future.
Old tradition that the British people love to talk about the weather. And on that basis, our meteorological authority is something of a national treasure. Sadly, in these times, with all the impacts of climate change, we're increasingly realising the work of the UK Met Office is coming more and more to the fore for all of us on a global level. So it's been fantastic to see the Bwaise programme work on weather and climate information services for the last 8 years, since 2015, in the region. It's done fantastic partnerships with national meteorological authorities, particularly here in Uganda.
You need to develop a daily template where you can issue forecasts for 12 hours, morning to evening, and then 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. You need that kind of infrastructure in place. Furthermore, you need methods of dissemination. People say SMS. SMS is damn expensive. The local man may be comfortable with a flag.
Starting in the Bwaise neighborhood, the project organizers promised to share the information with the local community through SMS and various media platforms.
Community platforms, we have community forums where the vulnerable meet with their leaders and with their local leadership and with their divisional leaders. So we will provide this information maybe through the social media platforms or through the SMSs, so that these people, once they have received this information, they can find appropriate ways of relocating at that particular time when the rain is going to be, when there's going to be lots of water in the community.
According to the discussions with countries where the regional scale-up project is implemented, over 1 million people have been displaced in war-torn Sudan, while in Tanzania the weather forecast information is perceived but lacks effective action. These insights aim to assist management in making informed decisions to mitigate climate change more efficiently.
Of course, as you know, on the 15th of April, armed conflict broke in many cities in Sudan, which means that we will not implement the Daraja in the way we originally planned. But having this conflict means actually there is even more need for having weather and climate information communicated directly to the vulnerable communities. Because you can imagine, since 15th of April, we have 1 million people internally displaced in Sudan. Most of them were already initially internally displaced. So there is extreme vulnerability. The places where they are displaced to is also vulnerable to weather and climate risks. So what we are planning to do, we would like to give, also creating this bridge, the Daraja Bridge.
Community, the perception of hazard in that area, even how these people are resilient to the environment, and also we wanted to know how these people access the weather and climate information. After we did the baseline study, we found that there are a lot of gaps. For instance, the community had limited knowledge on weather and climate, but also the community were not even accessing to the weather and climate information. And those who access to the weather and climate information were not using the information to take action. That's why they could face these impacts. And in that particular settlement, of course, it is of high and lowland area.
Uganda has already witnessed the detrimental effects of climate variability, leading to significant economic losses. In 2008, a drought caused a 3% loss in value of food and cash crops, while 2 years later, extreme weather resulted in 16% loss. The impact of climate change on the country's economy is evident, with the recent warning from the Ministry of Finance that Uganda is losing approximately 3% of its GDP each year. Andrew Bwaise, Rona Nahawe, Smart 24, Business Today.